Who has the juice? Shout out Sean Little. Got all 4 number ones in the men's.
Brick the final, though.
Your co-host went on freezing cold takes, going down hard, fading Florida. I am getting thank yous, though. Like, thank you for mushing us all tournament.
Yeah.
So that's appreciated. But just high-level Monday night shit.
That's appreciated.
I mean, Florida just – and Pete gave great research all tournament. They started out 0-2 against the spread. Then they're 1-3 against the spread. You got Golden going against Sampson. Everything working against Florida historically. They're down 10. It's a Houston-themed game. It's tight. It's deep.
Nasty game.
And 9.5-point live, 4-1 live Florida. Again, and I'm not a reptile guy. I'm freaked out by alligators
Cold-blooded.
and gators. And just unfathomable, man. Got to give them credit. Clayton, goose egg in the first half, woke up in the second half. Yeah, just any reactions. No, you're not a huge CBB guy, but
my initial reaction is it wasn't a good game. It's just a confirmation that it's just garbage basketball. Those are the 2 teams that are in the finals.
Would Duke Florida been way more riveting?
Yeah, of course.
Been a way different game too. It'd been in the 80s.
Yeah, it was just
like
a way better game, but it's just that college basketball is just not for me. You have to completely buy into the pageantry and everything else about it. The way it's officiated, I don't like how orange the ball is. I don't like anything about.
Man,
college
you're getting
basketball,
real Larry David in here.
If I'm being honest with you,
Just throw some more out while we're at.
Basketball and football stadiums. Iron Eagle and Raftery and Grant Hill were awesome.
Yeah,
that's about it for me.
Any thoughts on Houston down 2, going for a 3? Or a team that's not particularly great at shooting 3 and not getting a shot off. I mean, literally a pump fake.
That's college basketball. That was like the peak college basketball. The last 3 possessions for Houston are unbelievable. And it was the same thing that happened in the game before.
Yeah.
Where the 3 did go down, the tip dunk does go down, but it's just.
Any thoughts on the Duke collapse since we're just putting a button on the tourney? I mean, that was surreal.
Go back and listen to the previous Juice Bar. We talked about the Final Four. The only thing Duke hadn't been in was a tight game with young guys, Knipple and Flag.
Did you hate that over the back foul, too?
It was awful.
That was pretty
a terrible
bad.
Call.
I don't know how you make that call.
What I've noticed is they're quick to call the ticky-tack stuff.
Right.
And then they swallow the whistle on a lot of physical stuff, it seems like. Don't touch anybody after a rebound, but like at the cup.
It's physical at the cup.
Yeah, or like there were so many clean blocks Florida had on Auburn that they were blowing whistles on. And I don't know, man. I just don't. The product is garbage. I'm a big product guy. We were talking about White Lotus before we got on. I need top product for what I'm being sold. The national championship, the Final Four, March Madness, the way people talk about March, the best sporting event we have, the best sporting month in the calendar, please stop.
Man, you really don't like college ball.
Stop.
I was seeing that. ESPN said best Final Four ever, and I was at a bachelor party, and all the group was saying was these were 2 boring games, 2 bad basketball.
It's weak.
I love college basketball in March.
What do you love about it?
I like, essentially, on some level, it's a gross game because not a lot of guys can shoot. I like the tenacity. I like the hustle. I like the little things, and there's not a lot of teams that don't put effort in. When I watch NBA 82 games a year and it's like 15 full efforts a season on the defensive side. So I respect the hustle and the effort. And I like watching the guys, like out of the Houston program, it's not like I remember Grimes in the tournament. Shed, now it's Cryer. It's fun to watch him mature and get to the next level. I think
I could just watch him mature in the league, though.
I think the sport, what the last 4 was missing was polarizing coaches. I think if you had a Calipari, a Pitino, a Hurley, those are characters. Those are guys that we like around the sport, even in Izzo. You had none of it. Golden, mid-30s?
That's the problem. You need all this additional stuff.
Well,
you
now
need Jim Nance in the stands.
But sit back and appreciate.
You need
Here's what I will say, though.
You need Patino in a white suit. What about the gameplay?
Well, let me ask you this.
What about not being able to inbound the ball?
But we love the NBA for the theater, the trade deadline, the off-season stuff. You have more of that in this sport of college basketball than ever before. So if you're like an off-season guy or you like old school playing 2K, NBA Live, GM, this is going to be riveting because it's going to be a freaking lottery for spots on new teams. I mean, even just watching Calipari pick off John L. Davis, who was Dusty May's point guard for FAU. Like, if you're in the weeds on that stuff, storylines-wise, and get exciting. But to the women's, Gino gets it done. That was a smack around. We saw each other on Sunday. 7.5-point line.
Cooked him.
Wasn't competitive.
Yeah.
Gino decorated. Shout out Beckers. Fudd was unbelievable. Sarah Strong.
What does Ariema have? 7 titles or something?
I don't know. It's
12.
12. It's 12. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's been the longest drought, so it's been a minute. But yeah, man, he's 71 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, him having 12 rings is outstanding, and to get people.
Is he on the Mount Rushmore of just? I saw him talk about it on national TV of at least American coaches. He's got to be on the Mount Rushmore, right? If you're 11, 12.
Isn't that what Stephen Smith said?
Yeah, it was on ESPN somewhere. Of like, they asked if he's the greatest coach. Put him on the Mount Rushmore.
It's always tough for me, if I'm being completely honest, when throughout the years if you were a good women's basketball player, you were only going to Tennessee or UConn.
Yeah.
So like the competition that they were going against wasn't top notch. So when you see like things like 12 titles, it's difficult to quantify exactly because, if we're being honest, not a lot of struggle in a lot of those seasons. And if we're being honest, like if you go back to Bill Russell, like Bill Russell has a ton of titles where the league had 8 teams in it.
So you got to put it in context.
So you got to put it in context a little bit. I know people will argue with me about Russell and whatever, but that's just how I look at it. So
it's got to be topped out.
Yeah, big time accomplishment, no doubt. But he's a legitimate. Well, no, look. So now if we're talking about this era, he goes and gets a title. Still getting big time players to come to the program where they could go to a lot of other places now. Yeah, where a lot of money's now being involved in partnerships and different things of that nature. So yeah, it's big time, man. Paige Beckers is big time. She could really hoop, man?
Yeah, where does this team beat last year's South Carolina team? Cardoso, a couple of the girls that went to the league. That would have been that riveting.
Team was undefeated. And
or even I'm just curious in this little South Carolina getting a 3 and 4, winning 2 of them, and LSU getting 1. Iowa's Caitlin Clark team. Of all those teams, kind of in the last 4 years,
all fun.
Where
teams.
does this Beckers UConn team rank? Is this the best team of all of them? No disrespect to the undefeated South Carolina team.
No, you can't. To even say that's disrespectful because they went undefeated and they went tape to tape and didn't lose a game and won the title.
Just saying.
Though. I mean,
this is a 20-point
plus. They were dusting people off. What did South Carolina win by last year? Didn't they dust off in the final?
They were dominant
against Caitlin Clark.
Just a completely different team though without Cardoso on the block.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
But yeah, any last final?
Bigs are back. Running backs are back.
I know you're ready for the real tourney. Any final bracket thoughts here on men's or women's before we put a button on it? Anyone in the room here?
One thing on what you were just talking about the recruiting class from 2020 in the women's side was just ended up ridiculous when you look at it because it was Paige Beckers was number 1, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Caitlin Clark, and Camilla Cardoso. So that's the top 5 in the 2020 recruiting class. Pretty stacked.
I saw Cameron Brink, by the way, over the All-Star game at the Steph Curry party.
Tall.
And she is massive.
Like 6'6".
Like a legit 6'10". Maybe 6'10" might be heavy.
6'6".
Look up how big Cameron Brink is. 6'8".
No way, 6'8". Give me 6'6".
It says 6'4", but that must be a Kevin Durant situation there,
She's
right?
Not 6'4", bro. She might have had big shoes on. I didn't even peep the shoes, I guess. But
WNBA and heels.
I said 7 feet.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she's like a legit 6'5", though. It seemed like to me. Shout out Cam Brink.
All right, that's it for the madness in March. On to the real turn.
Correct.
For more Juice Bar, make sure to check out the podcast wherever you get your audio platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple, Google Play. Keep it rolling. More Juice Bar. Stay locked in.